Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be doing my top 10 eyeshadow palettes of 2022. I don't know if any of these came out in 2022, but they're still ones that I was constantly reaching for this year, using all the time. A lot of them are neutrals because on the daily, I'm just not reaching for a super colorful eyeshadow, but I have some color like sprinkled in. Make sure to subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it, and if you want to see my top palettes of the year, then just keep on watching. So we're just gonna start off with this one. This one definitely didn't come out in 2022, but I just feel like a lot of people were loving it this year. I also feel like it kind of went a little viral on TikTok. So this is the Makeup by Mario Master Matte eyeshadow palette. So when this first came out, I kind of like talked my crap about it because it's pretty little. I mean, it's like the size of my hand and it's $50, I think, or $48, somewhere around in like that range. And I was like, it's so expensive, like you don't need to spend that much money on a matte palette, which I still stand by that. If you have neutrals or if you're just getting into makeup, I definitely don't think you need to buy this $50 palette to get the same look from something else. But if you have the money, you want to splurge, and you know, like you want to splurge on a palette you know you'll use every single day, this is such a good palette to do that with because it's all mattes. There's not one single shimmer in this. And these are more, I would say these are warmer neutral tones. You have some like peachier, warmer transition shades. You have some like brick red shades. You have a black, you have a deep brown, and you have like a cream shade. So overall, this is a perfect palette for me. And now, I will say I like to use a little bit more like cooler neutral tones on my eyes. But for days that I kind of want something a little bit warmer, a little bit more neutral, I love this palette. I actually took this on vacation with me because it's so small and compact. So that's another pro about it. It's so small, like it's very travel friendly. So yeah, this has been a really great palette, great for my warm neutral eyeshadow lovers. Okay, so I do have three NATASHA DENONA palettes that I want to talk about, which maybe you could ask for this for Christmas, or maybe you would like a Sephora gift card, or you can spend some Christmas money at Sephora. So I love NATASHA DENONA. I will always rave about her eyeshadow formula. So I think, did this one come out in 2022? I feel like it came out in like spring. If it didn't, I'll like put that in the video, but for some reason I feel like this came out not that long ago. So this is the retro palette. So this one is kind of more like cranberries, like mauve-y berry tones. And days that I was wanting kind of more like a berry look or like a cranberry look, this was the eyeshadow palette I was reaching for because you still have neutrals in it, but you can really add a pop of cranberry if you want to. The shimmers are super pretty in this palette. And yeah, I always love her formula, so I always know like any palette I get from her, it's probably gonna be a favorite because I love her formula so much. So yeah, I was actually reaching for this one quite a bit on the days that I want like that cranberry toned look. Okay, so I'm kind of just like reaching off the pile now. So this is the LUNAR Beauty Nude Prism palette. So I don't know if this one came out in 2022, but I bought this in 2022. So I love LUNAR Beauty's formula. It's by Manny MUA, and it's honestly some of the best formula. Like his mattes are amazing. The shimmers are so reflective and sparkly. I'll try to put like swatches in the video so you can really see. But I mean, this palette, come on. Like I love that you have so many mattes and then you have a row of shimmers, and you have like pinkier shimmers, bronzy, gold. You have like a pearlescent shimmer, but this palette does lean a little bit more like rosy toned neutral. So this one isn't warm, it's not cool, it's kind of more on the pinkier rosy tones of the neutral shadows. But I still absolutely love this palette. I love this like plummy brown because that hint of purple in the eyeshadow really brings out hazel eyes, green eyes, brown eyes. It's really just going to make your eyes pop. So I love to use that like right on the lash line and smoke it out, or I'll use it on the outer corner. It just really like makes my hazel eyes pop. So I have been loving this palette, and if you've ever tried this formula, it's really amazing. And The packaging on his is just always so amazing. Like, he puts so much detail into the packaging. All of this is raised, and yeah, and you get a big mirror in this. I don't know if I'm going to show you, but yeah. So I actually got this in, I think, towards the end of 2021, but I still love this palette, and times I kind of want to spice up the eyeshadow a little bit. I love to use a Huda Beauty shimmer. She has some really unique shimmer shadows in her palettes. Some that are duochrome, or like they'll be like sparkly, like topper shades, or super metallic, or just like kind of like fun shimmers. So this is the Rose Quartz Huda Beauty palette. I love the packaging on this palette, and for me personally, the shimmers is what like stands out in this palette. Have so many unique shades. Like, you have some duochromes. I love this shade right here and this shade. They just have like this duochrome look, like periwinkle, lilac, pink to like green shift, and then this one is kind of like a green to pink. I don't know how to, like, I'll put swatches of them, but yeah, the mattes are really pretty too, really blendable, definitely more of a cool toned palette. You have some pinks, but you have some pretty like taupey cool tones in it, but you do have a couple like warmer tones up here, but they still lean a little bit more cool. But the shimmers is just what makes this palette to me. They're just so reflective on the eye. I'll try to put like the look I did using this palette, but I think this is such a pretty palette. The only shade I don't use is this like cream shade that she put in here. I feel like no one really cares about those, but yeah, such a good look. Okay, and then if you're seeing this, that means I didn't cut it out. So I'm gonna look to see if this is discontinued. I don't know. She like discontinued it and then brought it back, and I don't know if it's discontinued again. So I am gonna either leave this part in if it isn't discontinued, or cut it out if it is. So this is the NATASHA DENONA Metropolis palette. This is one of my favorite palettes for the fall, like winter time. I mean, you have so many like warm tones with like the greens and the golds, and you have like these burnt oranges, and then you have like some really pretty teals, which I love wearing like teal shades in the winter and like Christmas time. So yeah, of course, Natasha Denola's formula is amazing. This is one of her more expensive palettes, which I don't buy those very often. I only have 2 of them, and I just got this one last year, and I think it was on sale. I can't remember, but they have like different shimmer formulas. So some are metallic, some are more like toppers, and then this one's like a green, like gold duochrome. And then I really love the mattes. Like, that's my favorite part of this palette, is these like deep greens and teals, and like this like olive green, I think it'd be called, or maybe this one's the olive green, I don't know. But this is such a pretty palette, especially for fall and winter time. Again, hopefully it's not discontinued. Okay, so I have 2 like little palettes. So one I have been using a lot recently. This is the ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. This is just an amazing everyday palette. I think this is $9, and I love this palette. I do like the shimmers in it, but I really use these mattes like a lot. I'll do like this on the lid, I'll do these as transition, I'll put this on the outer lash line. I've been using this every single day. Or not every, because I don't do my makeup every single day, but every time I just want to throw on a little bit of eyeshadow, I love reaching for this palette. Again, just a great everyday palette. I feel like this one is like the perfect neutral. It's not warm, it's not cool, it's just like right in the middle. I think that's really nice, and again, it's nice and compact. I will say it's not packaged as well as like the Makeup by Mario. Like, it will break, the eyeshadows will come out. It's definitely like cheap plastic. I actually had one where I dropped it and the eyeshadows actually didn't break, luckily. No, that's a lie. One did break, but they actually like, these are just like magnetic pans that you can just pop out. So if you are going to travel with it, just kind of be a little bit careful, but I think it's a great travel palette because it's small and compact, neutral everyday look, and yeah, and it's super affordable. I think it's $9. It's like $9 or $10, so yeah, I really like this palette. I've been wearing this one a lot recently. And then the other one is a little bit more smoky, a little bit more for like that date night, like smoky look. So this is the Huda Beauty Wild Jaguar palette. This is such a pretty palette. This is one of her mini ones. So yeah, you could travel with this one if you wanted to. And it has like a lot of shimmers, which I do like the shimmers in this one. This one's kind of more of like a topper shade, which I know isn't everyone's favorite. But I like that for when I don't want that super metallic look. I just want a little bit of glitter. Yeah, and then you have like, this is like a khaki green with like some blue and like gray. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, it's kind of like gray. Like, it's very grungy, smoky. So this is definitely more like a grungy, smoky palette. So if you like those deeper, wait a minute, this might be discontinued. I just thought about that. So again, if this is discontinued, you won't be seeing this. If it is discontinued, you'll be seeing it. Okay, so this is just like a really nice smoky palette. You have some deep, like I can get a really deep smoky look with this palette. So I love this for when I just want that like a little bit something other than just like a light, soft, natural look. I love using this palette. A couple more left, so I'm going to put these together because I love them both equally, even though they're different color palettes. So I have the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. This is the first one, and then I have the second one. So the first one is more of like a warm neutrals palette. So mine did come broken, so I guess I kind of got this for free. I bought it, then this one came broken, and this one was out of its pan, so that's why mine had like a weird tint on them, but it still works. See what I'm saying? Ooh. Okay, go back in there. I should probably put a magnet on that. So yeah, I love this palette. I love the shimmers. They kind of remind me, now I don't have the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes. I like talked myself out of it, and then I was like, no way, I really want that palette, but it keeps selling out constantly. So the shimmers kind of remind me of the Makeup by Mario, where they're just like they don't have much of a base. They're just kind of give you that like wet, glittery, shimmery topper like kind of look. Anyway, so yeah, I love using this. Like, I will use this palette all the time, and I love these shimmers. Every time I wear them, I always get compliments. And then you do have two creams. Now, I don't use the creams a lot because I'm not a huge cream eyeshadow person, but I've used them a couple of times and they are good. I had it crease on me one time, and I can't remember if I did the second time, but that was also my fault. I put concealer down and then did the creams, and you shouldn't do that. You should just do the creams on your bare eyelid. So yeah, this is one of my favorite palettes. I love the color story. I love the mattes. I love these shimmers. For me, like, the shimmers really make this palette. So, and then here's the second one. This one's kind of more of the pinkier one, which I still love this one. I like that this one's kind of like, they're still like neutral, like rosy tones, you know? They're not like super, super pink or very cranberry and plum. They're just kind of like that neutral, rosier tone. So yeah, and the shimmers are the same formula. This one is kind of a little bit more, this one's more duochrome, and then this one, oh shoot, and then this one's a little bit more of a metallic, which the deepest one in that one is a little bit more of like a like shimmery, like metallic shade. But yeah, I love both of these. I use these constantly throughout the year. Yeah, I just love both of these. So this is another ColourPop palette. So this is the Stone Cold Fox palette, and this is the cool tone one. So if you are a cool tone eyeshadow palette lover like I am, you need this palette. I love this palette. You have black, you have deep browns, you have like okay, this one's like really hard. So you have like rosier tones, you have like neutral, like warm tones, you have taupe, you have more like gray, like blues. I don't know what you would call this one. And then this is like more like the neutral cool tones. I don't know. I love this palette. I love this bright white. It has a little bit of like just a smidge of glitter in it, but it doesn't fall over the face. It just kind of brightens it up really nicely. I just love this palette. I think it's so pretty, and again, if you are a cool toned lover, you would love this palette. I think they do have a warmer tone version of this. I just can't think of what it's called, but yeah, I absolutely love this palette. And again, I think this is $30 for 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So for 30 eyeshadows, is it $30? It might be 30. It's either 30 or 35 and you get 30 eyeshadows. So yeah, and I think ColourPop's formula is actually really, really nice. Okay, and then the last palette, this is just one I'm going to put in every favorites video. This is probably one of my favorite eyeshadows, or my most favorite eyeshadows of all time. I will literally probably use this on my wedding day. I might. With like the Patrick Ta shimmer. Oh. Okay. So this is the NATASHA DENONA Glam palette. This is my favorite palette by her. Ooh. I'm wearing it today just like very lightly, and like I literally threw this on. So yeah, you do get a lot of shimmers in here, but I will say I use the mattes the most. So you get 5 mattes, and I just think they're the perfect matte eyeshadows for me. So yeah, they are like cooler tones, but this one is these two I feel like there's still some like neutrally warm undertones in it. Like I feel like this one is like a very like perfect neutral transition crease brown. And then you do have shimmers. I still like the shimmers. I just feel like I use the mattes the most out of this. Like that's where they shine for me. I'm surprised I haven't hit pan on any of these because I literally use this palette all the time. Like even if I'm using a different eyeshadow palette, I'll still like come here and like use this lash line color, because the lash line color is like a super, it's not quite a black, it's almost, it's like a black brown. It's not brown, but it's not black. It's like right if you like combine the two. So yeah, I use this palette a ton, or I'll just use like these 3 shades and then use a shimmer from a different palette. But anyway, this is one of my absolute favorite palettes. I know it's expensive, but again, maybe with like after Christmas you could get it. I don't know if Sephora does a sell after Christmas, but yeah, I feel like if you're a bride, you're gonna love this palette. Actually, you know what, I feel like if you're a bride, these 2 palettes are so good because you get the warm tones, you get the cool tones, but like the shimmers in this one like shine for me, and then the mattes in this one shine for me. So these are probably like my most used palettes of 2022. So that is all of my palettes for this year. I know that they were a little bit boring, I guess, but I don't use colorful palettes all the time, and even the ones I do, like I love the Laura Lee, like this palette I love for color because so pretty, but I don't know if you can get this anymore. So I guess it's like an honorable mention. Again, I'll try to link it down below if it's there, but I know I didn't put in like a lot of colorful palettes because I just don't use them as much as I do neutral shadows, and I feel like a lot of us just kind of want like a good neutral palette. So yeah, hopefully I catered to you, whatever you wanted. And if you want to know my thoughts on any palettes that you're looking at or you're thinking about buying, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.